All right, guys, get your hands up.
Throw them up.
It's time for the check-in presented by Allstate. We are checking in on Lamar Jackson and the Ravens, who it was a throttling of the Denver Broncos. Lamar has now tied the record for most games with a perfect passer rating in history. He is also the fewest games in the NFL season to get to 20 passing touchdowns and 500 rushing yards in the same year. He has a legitimate chance to go for 4,000 passing yards and 1,000 rushing yards this season. Derrick Henry has a chance to go for 2,000 rushing yards. This is against a Broncos defense that we came in thinking was very, very good. I don't even know if I have a question other than, did you learn anything about this sort of juggernaut Ravens offense from today's performance?
I mean, they could have scored 100 points if they wanted to, and it seemed like they had their way with this team. After the first drive where they got sacked out of field goal range, I think Lamar ended up having 3 incomplete passes, and 2 of them were drops, and 1 of them was off a bad snap. Other than that, like, he was completely perfect. When he is as accurate as he's been now and as decisive as he's been, this team feels, or this offense feels legitimately unstoppable because they have advantages. They have enough really good players and a really talented, smart quarterback that there's no team that's perfectly built to cover all of their players. And they are the opposite of the Cowboys in that from game to game, if you couldn't see their jerseys, it'd be hard for you to figure out their offensive system because they design it to take advantage of the opponent that they're going against. And that to have a quarterback who's able to do that from week to week is incredibly helpful, and players that can do that because you can always find the matchup or the situation that you like from game to game, from quarter to quarter, from half to half. What I will say that looking back at their games so far this season is they do have all these skill player advantages, but when I do see this juggernaut of an offense struggle, it's when they go up against a D lineman that is special because they are weaker across the offensive line, and they can't compensate there in the same way that they do with their 2 great tight ends and Zay Flowers and obviously Derrick Henry and Justice Hill catching deep passes. Like they have
wheels out of the backfield, 35 yards downfield.
But yeah, so like you go through their EPA offensively so far this season, and they're like in the teens up to the 20s against everyone except for Max Crosby, Myles Garrett, and Chris Jones. Those are the games where they get down into low single digits because those guys create such a problem for this offense.
Yeah, I mean, the book on Lamar has always been make him one-dimensional, make him throw the football, don't let him run. Lamar had 3 carries for 4 yards in this game. Like his running was not a threat. Yes, he extended plays with his legs. I think he had a scramble here and there for a first down. I think he had an 11-yard run in this game, but he was 16 and 19 for 280. Domonique said these 3 incompletions were 2 drops and a bad snap. Like, you know, he was one-dimensional in this game, and in a one-dimensional game against the best defense in football by the numbers, he ripped them up. And he ripped them up with Zay Flowers as his number 1 receiver. It is like he was comfortably the MVP last year. I think the 49 to 50 voters picked him as the MVP last year. And across the board, he's not just playing better than he did last year. He's playing significantly better than he was last year to me. He is a cut above the player we saw dominating the league a year ago. And that is, to Dominique's point, like they do look unstoppable for stretches of time. It didn't feel like the Broncos had any hope of stopping them in this game. It felt like Bo Nix had to drop 40 for them to even have a shot at competing in this game. It was really, really impressive. And I think Lamar, to me, is comfortably the MVP for the first half of the season.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see them go up against the Bengals again because that is a matchup that their defense will have trouble with. Their defense didn't have much trouble today because they're going up against Bo Nix and the Broncos.